well.
Okay.
First, though, very interesting subject today, Scientology, and it's been championed by stars such as Tom Cruise, John Travolta, as you've known for lots of years. But at the end of last year, English law officially recognised this rather controversial faith, some might call it, as a religion.
OK, so not a cult, not a fan club, a religion, and that meant that after nearly a 5-year battle, our next guests, Louisa and Alessandro Calcioli, that's the bit, Calcioli, were able to marry at their own church. It was very, very important for them to do this, and this was the Scientology chapel in London. But what is Scientology? Why do people find it so controversial? We'll find out now. When you say to people, you're a young couple, modern couple, and you're right there and they say, look at those two, look at that Louisa and Alessandro, very nice couple, but they're Scientologists. Weird. I mean, what is the reaction that you get? Come on, seriously. Do you only mix with fellow Scientologists?
Not at all. I think it's when people don't know something, they automatically are kind of backed off, and they read stuff in the media or something like, oh, and they have little bits they don't fully understand. So then it's kind of like, oh, well, I don't know.
But that's the problem, you know, I mentioned Tom Cruise there, John Travolta. We read a lot in the media.
Yeah.
And so is it good for your religion that you have these figures in the public, that people are talking about it? Or is it detrimental because there's so much speculation and rumours and the kind of media frenzy around them and all these things that we hear, which we will ask you about in a moment?
Yeah.
I think it's great that people at least hear about it, because then often they will come and find out for themselves rather than just believing what they hear in the papers.
Now, what is Scientology? How would you describe
it
as a religion?
Well, it's a religion. The goal of it essentially is to understand yourself and God and the spiritual nature of things.
And would that God be, as we would understand in Christian terms, is that the same God we're talking about? Or
it's whatever one's concept is of God.
Yeah.
It's that idea of a supreme creator.
Okay.
And why do you think people are so suspicious and they use the word controversial whenever they talk about Scientology? And why is some of it so secretive? Or isn't it? Or were you just assuming it is?
I mean, it's not secretive. Our doors are open every day. Someone can come in and find out about Scientology.
Yeah, but people are worried about going in and never getting out again.
Okay, well then you can go online.
Yeah.
We have online courses. We did a website for our wedding. You can see our wedding on it, and you can see how Scientology wedding is.
How important was that wedding to you? Tell me about the journey of this, like as in, because, I mean, you could have got married in a state registry office, for instance, but you chose not to do that. Why was it so important to have your religion recognised?
Well, I mean, we're both very spiritual people. We believe we're spirits, not a body. So, and a wedding for me is a very spiritual thing. So I never wanted to get married in a registry and then have to have a second wedding. It's not fair. You know, it's discrimination. And so
if you can hear hiccups, by the way, that's your daughter. We'll bring on in a minute. You might be wondering what that noise is.
She's got a bigger spirit than the both of you.
Sorry, carry on.
It's always been so important to me to be surrounded by my friends and my family in my own church, and I never wanted to have to get married twice, basically. Have to do weddings.
Okay, so you have it recognised. That's important to you. We're talking about Ayla, your daughter there. One of the beliefs held by Scientologists is the concept of silent birth, the fact that the child should be brought into the world in calmness and in silence, and there has been criticism of that. How is that possible, and is that what happened to you?
No.
No.
I mean, it mentions silent birth because that's an ideal situation. It would just be calm and quiet. I mean, I made noise. I did what I wanted to. I mean, I was having a baby.
The idea isn't for the mother to be silent at all.
No.
Silent birth is almost a misnomer. As you said, it's a calm environment. And to be honest, most midwives, from what we experience, they try and make it a calm environment anyway. It's more the normal concept now of how a birth should be.
And I think I read you said you asked your midwife, can we keep this as quiet as possible, as less talking, and they were very happy to do that. What about you? What about your role? Did you keep completely silent, or did you shout some encouragement from the sidelines?
I wouldn't say I shouted it, but I was by her and held her hand, and when we needed to speak, we would speak.
Now, the other thing which people talk about a lot is, those Scientologists, they have to give like 90% of their earnings to the church. So what's the theory behind that, and is that true?
It's not true at all.
Yeah.
You do have to give. You do have to give.
You donate for any services that you take. there are free services and there are certain ones that you make a donation for. But, I mean, what else do you expect in this current world that we live in?
Yeah.
You have to be able to pay for the building that you're in and to turn the lights on and so forth. So how else could we survive if not with the donations of parishioners?
Is it right, Alessandro, that you work in a job 1 day a week, but the rest of the time you work for the church?
I volunteer there, yeah.
So volunteer. What does that mean? How do you make a living if you only work 1 day a week?
I'm very good at my job.
But what does working for the church mean? Going out to get converts, to encourage other people to come and do things like this to promote the religion? Or?
I mean, I've had different jobs within the church, but it's mostly just talking to people when they come in and helping them with whatever they want help with.
Okay.
Because often someone will come in wanting a specific aid.
We've got people, obviously you're stimulating interest, people watching at home today, and they've been getting in touch with Andy, and they're very, very curious about all of this. Andy, what have you got?
Yeah, we've got quite a few questions which maybe Louisa or Alessandro might be able to help and answer. Firstly, Dee says everyone has the right to practice whatever religion they wish as long as they don't try to push it on others.
Yeah.
Rachel has a question. How can a religion that was only founded in the 50s be recognised as a true religion?
Okay, it's a bit modern for many people to
Yeah.
comprehend.
Yeah.
Well, really, you just have
L.
to
Ron Hubbard, that's who we're talking about.
Yeah.
You just have to look at what is a religion. Does a religion, by definition, have to be something that's very old? No, it's something concerned with the spirit. And L. Ron Hubbard, he travelled all over the world, and a lot of the concepts in Scientology come from some of the oldest religions in the world.
But it's a bit like Star Wars at times, isn't it? I mean, his concepts. He likes aliens, and they've made, you know, they've got John Travolta film and all that. So it's different for people to take on board. I mean, you guys believe, you believe like many religions, you believe in an afterlife, yeah? And you believe you're what are termed thetans, am I right?
We believe that
spirit.
the soul, the spirit, we call it the thetan,
Yeah.
that it lives on. So that when the body dies, the thetan continues to
So
live.
how many
And if-
lives do you believe you've had?
I wouldn't give it a specific number.
But
to be honest.
you've lived before.
That's what you
Yeah.
believe, yeah.
And other religions believe that too, of
Yeah,
course.
a lot of
Yeah,
Eastern
totally.
religions do.
Right, okay. Andy?
Yep. Another question here, which you touched on there, Alessandro. Charlotte asks, surely you shouldn't have to pay to be accepted by a religion?
But you're not paying
don't.
to be accepted at
Yeah.
all. One can come and take a number of free services.
How much does it cost you of your earnings? What percentage of your earnings would you contribute towards the courses which you participate in?
But it's not a percentage of your earnings. You just...
Pay for the course?
Yeah, exactly.
Could
It's
you
just
put a
an
figure on that,
exchange.
what it would cost you per year? Because, you know, compared to what Mormons donate, I think, 10% of their income, don't
Yeah.
they? And if you go to a Catholic church, for instance, you're given an envelope for a silent connection
Yeah.
as well. Can you put a figure on?
Well, it depends what course you're doing.
It's up to the person. You could be a Scientologist for your entire life and essentially not donate a penny.
Do you pay hundreds or thousands a year?
Neither.
No.
Neither. Okay.
we're both
How many
volunteers.
Scientologists are there in the country, do you think?
Thousands.
Thousands.
Don't know an exact
There are
figure, to be
thousands of
honest.
Scientologists out.
Yeah, but we're talking there about secrecy surrounding this religion is a lot of the reasons why people criticise it often. What do your churches or your places of worship or chapels, I don't know what you call them, look like? And could I walk into one at any time and
Yeah,
come and have a look
absolutely.
round?
Yeah.
And
Totally.
yes?
Yeah, I mean, the first floor of our Blackfriars Church is essentially for people to walk in and learn about Scientology themselves. And anyone is welcome to come in. Anyone's welcome to our church services of any denomination.
And do you both come from families who are Scientologists?
Yeah.
So you've been born into this?
Yeah.
You didn't make the choice?
Well, we were always allowed to think for ourselves.
Yeah.
In Scientology, it's what's true for you is true. So if I read something, I'm like, oh, I don't see how that's true, then fine.
And you could
Were
choose to leave?
you in an arranged wedding?
No.
You're very good-looking people, and we reckon your little Ayla. Here's Granda Peter,
here's
and here's
Granda.
little Ayla, who we reckon. Very
Smile,
beautiful
Daddy.
baby here, very beautiful baby. And Andy, just to finish with you, and just to sum up the overall reaction that you're getting there, or a final question to Louisa and Alessandro.
It's a real mixed reaction, and I think as you were just talking about, as Ruth said, it's the mystery that I think people are finding something really quite... That's what disturbs people, is there is a lot of mystery surrounding it. You just said you could walk into the church, but on that first floor, would I be exposed to enough to make a decision, or is that literally just the first floor, and only if I commit, I go in? I'm curious.
Yeah. Or how many floors are there that we'd have to go through?
I mean, there's no locked doors. Let's put it like
they
that.
could come and see anything.
We have people walk in and they take a full tour of our entire church. We're very open.
OK, well, you guys have opened the doors, you certainly have, because you've pursued this whole thing through the courts. Because of you, your Scientology is now recognised as a form in religion. How does that make you feel?
Amazing.
Okay.
We feel like, justice has been done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've led the way. You've opened the gates for other people to...
Guys, thanks for telling us your story. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Branda, Peter, thank you.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything. You're all right. You're all right. Be there.
And I feel gorgeous.
Ayla, how are you? Oh.
She's only 8 months and she was nearly walking down our corridor this morning. You're going to have your hands full. Yeah,
very, very good. Very, very good. Thanks. Keep those comments coming in. Andy's monitoring those throughout the day. We have got... You can stick around for dinner if you want.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've got weekend dinner coming up, and it involves duck. We've also got...
And we've got